Welcome back to our chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Sunshine State, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this seventh installment of Most Haunted Places in Florida, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so spine-tingling they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From Spanish colonial ruins steeped in tragedy to modern-day hotels cloaked in mystery, Florida is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in sorrow, betrayal, and unrelenting despair. Florida's haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time: shipwrecks on moonlit shores, unspeakable crimes cloaked in secrecy, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across Florida, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted mansions, explore eerie swamps cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Florida, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The St. Augustine Lighthouse, a beacon of darkness perched on the rugged coastline of St. Augustine, Florida, the iconic lighthouse stands as both a navigational guide and a grim reminder of tragedy. Built in 1874 to replace an earlier structure destroyed by erosion, the towering beacon has illuminated the waters of the Atlantic for over a century. Yet beneath its majestic silhouette lies a darker narrative, one marked by accidents, drownings, and spectral sightings that have earned it a reputation as one of Florida's most haunted landmarks. One of the most enduring legends tied to the St. Augustine Lighthouse revolves around two young girls who tragically lost their lives during its construction. Historical records indicate that the daughters of Hezekiah Pitti, the project's superintendent, were playing near the site when they fell into a cart filled with wet plaster. Their screams went unheard until it was too late, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to haunt visitors today. Witnesses report hearing faint giggles echoing through the grounds, accompanied by the sound of splashing water. Some claim to see apparitions of two small figures running along the railing at the top of the lighthouse, only to vanish without explanation. Another prominent figure in the lighthouse's haunted lore is believed to be the spirit of a former keeper named Joseph Andrew. Tasked with maintaining the light during treacherous storms, Andrew fell to his death while attempting repairs in 1859. His ghost is said to roam the premises, ensuring that the beacon remains lit even after his passing. Visitors recount seeing a man in period attire climbing the spiral staircase or standing silently atop the tower, gazing out toward the sea. Others describe feeling an icy draft sweep through the air, as though someone unseen has walked past them. The keeper's house, located adjacent to the lighthouse, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with preserving the historic property often describe hearing footsteps pacing above them when no one else is present. Doors slam shut on their own, and objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a volunteer who swore she saw a woman in a flowing dress staring mournfully out of a window before disappearing into thin air. Theories abound that the woman may have been the wife of a former keeper, eternally grieving her husband's untimely demise. Modern-day investigations into the St. Augustine Lighthouse's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the keeper's house and the base of the lighthouse. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original occupants. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "Help me," and "Don't let go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the St. Augustine Lighthouse remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering the spirits of the two girls, Joseph Andrew, or one of the countless other entities said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the lighthouse grounds, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past? Or will they become another chapter in the lighthouse's macabre legacy? The Don Cesar Hotel, glamour entangled with ghosts nestled along the pristine shores of St. Pete Beach, the Don Cesar Hotel stands as a monument to luxury and decadence. A grand pink palace built in 1928 that has hosted everyone from celebrities to politicians. With its sweeping staircases, opulent ballrooms, and breathtaking ocean views, the hotel epitomized elegance and sophistication during its heyday. Yet beneath its polished exterior lay a darker narrative, one marked by scandal, heartbreak, and untimely deaths. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Don Cesar revolves around room 316, said to be haunted by the spirit of a jilted lover named Elizabeth. According to local lore, Elizabeth checked into the hotel under the pretense of meeting her fiancé, only to discover he had abandoned her for another woman. Overcome with grief, she took her own life in the room, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to haunt visitors today. Guests staying in room 316 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of roses lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Thomas Greaves, a disgraced financier who checked into the Don Cesar in 1929 during a desperate attempt to evade creditors. Consumed by guilt and paranoia, Greaves barricaded himself in room 407, refusing to leave or accept visitors. Days later, his body was discovered slumped over a desk littered with torn documents and empty liquor bottles. Since then, guests occupying room 407 have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, accompanied by the stench of stale alcohol and the sound of papers rustling violently in the dead of night. Some claim to catch glimpses of a gaunt man pacing anxiously in front of the window, his face obscured by shadows. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Don Cesar frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty soldier's uniform standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Don Cesar remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Elizabeth, Thomas Greaves, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's tragic tale. The Casadaga Hotel, a spiritualist sanctuary with shadows tucked away in the quaint town of Cassadaga, Florida. The Cassadaga Hotel stands as a beacon of spiritualism and mysticism, a haven for those seeking connection with the other side. Established in 1927, the hotel quickly became synonymous with the spiritualist community that thrived in the area, attracting mediums, psychics, and curious travelers eager to explore the mysteries of the unseen world. Its serene gardens, cozy rooms, and tranquil atmosphere evoke a sense of peace and introspection, yet beneath its welcoming veneer lies a darker narrative, one marked by seance scandals, unexplained phenomena, and spectral encounters. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Cassadaga Hotel occurred in the early 1930s, when a medium named Clara Bell claimed to channel the spirit of a murdered woman during a private reading. According to witnesses, Clara began speaking in a voice unfamiliar to her, describing details of her death that were later corroborated by police reports. Though the case was never solved, many believe the victim's spirit remains bound to the hotel, seeking justice for her untimely demise. Guests staying in room 203 frequently report hearing faint whispers emanating from the walls, accompanied by the sensation of being watched. Others describe seeing a translucent figure clad in Victorian attire gliding silently through the corridors, her expression one of sorrowful longing. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Reverend John Smith, a fiery preacher who led the congregation during the late 19th century. According to local lore, Reverend Smith delivered impassioned sermons calling for resistance against British tyranny, earning him enemies among occupying forces. His ghost is said to wander the nave, his ethereal form clad in clerical robes. Guests visiting the ruins have reported seeing a pale figure pacing restlessly near the altar, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Others describe hearing faint whispers of prayer and hymns, as though someone is conducting a service. The hotel's surrounding woods, thick with underbrush and towering trees, have also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Visitors walking among the weathered headstones often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out names unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the voices of parishioners buried without proper markers. Others report seeing apparitions of men and women in period clothing, their faces gaunt and weary, standing silently amidst the graves. Paranormal investigators exploring Old Sheldon Church have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the altar and the graveyard. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the ruins, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the site's reputation as one of South Carolina's most active haunted locations. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Old Sheldon Church continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of faith and freedom. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Old Sheldon Church offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. Patterns across Florida's haunted places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of Florida. From the opulent halls of Puggin's Porch to the somber grounds of Old Sheldon Church, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight or flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears: the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through Florida's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Florida's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all. But isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.